You tend to see it everywhere now again, wherever it is that you're reading about defense topics. You hear them saying, oh, situational awareness serves a critical role in the battle space, or having a clearer understanding of the multi-domain battle space is the basis for making the right strategic and tactical decisions. Okay. A central problem, though, in detecting enemy forces and movements is that it betrays one's own visibility or invisibility in procuring data on opposing forces. And like anything else in warfare, not being seen or detected is a matter of both survivability and lethality. This is the challenge. Only forces that can quietly collect, analyze, and classify battlespace data quickly and accurately and relay it to its forces can gain the upper hand over an enemy. With me here in the studio is Matt Willmot, Sales Director at Saab for the Sirius Compact, an advanced passive sensing system. Matt is here to help us dissect the challenge of achieving situational awareness in a conflict and gain details about an opposing force without revealing that's what one is doing. So where do we want to start, Matt?
Thanks, Curtis. Great to be here. So let's perhaps start with the obvious. Anyone who uses radars to detect targets by default runs the risk of revealing their own position. With passive sensors, on the other hand, you can observe the enemy signals without becoming an emitter yourself, often at greater standoff ranges. And it is precisely this capability that is becoming increasingly relevant in electronic warfare. Whereas radars tend to shout and then listen, passive sensors only listen as the ears of the modern battlefield. If we consider that current conflicts are demonstrating a rapid pace of technological disruption that has never been witnessed before, suddenly everyone is now scrambling to get ahead of this electronic warfare cat-and-mouse game that we see unfolding every day in conflict, and even in hybrid conflict zones. In short, he who knows first can act first.
Okay, so what's the solution from your perspective?
From my perspective, well, of course I'm going to be biased, but I would say in order to meet the current demand for high performance, low cost of ownership, electronic support measures, I'm naturally going to be saying Sirius Compact. Sirius Compact is a modular, scalable, lightweight, passive electronic warfare sensor that has been on the market for just shy of 2 years now and is already in high volume serial production.
And this is really significant from the perspective that Russia's war on Ukraine has surpassed 2 years.
Sensors like this are certainly an important piece of the puzzle to the increasingly complex challenges of ensuring passive surveillance domination at all levels of tactical operations. The beauty of Sirius Compact is that it is equally useful as a standalone node in a sensor network or as a supplement to existing sensors such as active radar systems.
So Sirius Compact is unique when it comes to size, weight, and power when compared to larger, bulkier, static solutions.
Absolutely correct. Sirius Compact is available in a number of different configurations depending on the application. The smallest variant we have is just 35 centimeters high, with a diameter of 15 centimeters and weighs no more than 3 kilograms. It enables very accurate direction finding, and when connected to other sensors in a network, provides emitter geolocation through a process called triangulation, all of which is contained in an incredibly small package. So small, in fact, that one would be tempted to use the description compact, hence the name. Small, discreet, and easy to transport in a typical backpack, Sirius Compact delivers passive surveillance for tactical applications.
I can see this really places Sirius Compact in a class all of its own. So is it powered by a standard radio battery, or can it get a charge directly from a host platform like a laptop?
Both your statements are correct, actually. So, mounted on a tripod, Sirius Compact is positional just about anywhere on the ground and would be taking power from the radio batteries that you've mentioned. You can hide it in plain sight atop regular infrastructure such as tall buildings, skyscrapers, wind farms, power pylons, and wherever we can get power, we'll be taking it from.
Could I put it on a drone, a recce vehicle, or a small combat boat?
I like the way you think. You can absolutely. We have demonstrated all of these installations that you mentioned and more You can even maneuver the sensor into position on board an unmanned surface vessel, which is another installation which we have recently demonstrated, and obviously very, very topical right now.
That's pretty cool then. Okay, changing gears. It seems like almost every technology on the planet is an improvement on and refinement of something else that came before it. So how did we get here with Sirius or Sirius Compact?
Well, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We've refined and improved on our existing technology from our larger fixed systems in all domains and incorporated it into this new, highly mobile Sirius Compact packaging. This move towards man-portable systems, which are inherently intuitive to use and don't require years of specialist training, is a direct response to the need for mobile and flexible, real-time intelligence gathering capabilities and opening up new possibilities in tactical electronic warfare.
Okay, paraphrasing the brochure for a moment, it states, with its 360-degree azimuth coverage, enemy radar and any data link emissions in the 1 to 18 gigahertz frequency range can be instantaneously detected from any direction.
Absolutely correct. So intercepted emissions are then classified to provide identification support for decision making. We state from the outset that Sirius Compact is platform and data link agnostic, which is particularly relevant for armed forces, meaning that the sensor itself can be easily integrated into existing networks and legacy platforms, or re-rolled from platform to platform, say from an unmanned ground vehicle to a manned platform, or from domain to domain.
Okay. Here's a tactical aspect worth exploring then. Can Sirius Compact be used for triangulation strangulation in locating an opposing force?
Well, a single sensor improves the dismounted situational awareness by providing high accuracy direction finding with a unique bearing accuracy of less than 2 degrees of the root mean square. A typical deployment of 3 Sirius Compact sensors enables precise emitter geolocation through triangulation.
Less than 2 degrees of the root mean square. That I have no clues to what that even means, but it sounds important.
It's just a way to mathematically define the angle of arrival and hence direction finding performance of Sirius Compact. Put it this way, the people to whom we've demonstrated the system seem more than happy with this value.
Okay. So it's important that the sensors are positioned at an appropriate distance apart and that the height differences in the terrain are also considered. Are there any other types of feedback or insight you have from your demonstration or from your attendees?
Yes, the geographic distribution you mentioned there needs to be factored in for any installation. Since Sirius Compact burst onto the market almost 2 years ago, we have carried out an extraordinarily large number of tests and international customer demonstrations. And even in extreme wind and weather conditions, Sirius Compact has performed very impressively, really surpassing all of their expectations.
Any other examples? Let's see. What about typical training burden?
For me, one of the standout demonstrations that we performed earlier this year, we conducted a hands-on evaluation for what I'd call a very significant land domain user. After a brief training session, the infantry troops were able to set the sensor up themselves, in just a few minutes, and were then very clearly impressed by the immediate operational capability and simple operation. Sirius Compact naturally benefits from Saab's long-standing expertise in the fields of signals intelligence. The challenge, however, is not only to make highly technological devices as small and mobile as possible, but also to laterally ensure that the full performance is available at the lowest tactical levels that I mentioned earlier.
So how does the end user manage a threat situation?
Clearly, situational awareness by invisibly detecting emitter signals is easier with this sort of technology, but that's just the first step, right?
Right, okay. Well, how so? Because the detected signals are really meaningless at this point without the ability to analyze and classify them.
Indeed. Using proprietary emitter threat libraries from, say, a military or intelligence source to classify and then prioritize a signal and give it meaning happens in a matter of milliseconds. To be valuable, an armed forces threat library, which contains an enormous amount of sensitive data, needs to be constantly updated.
So this detection data, let's call it, can it be stored in the sensor itself?
Yes, it requires the tasking and reporting light software I mentioned, as well as the content of the customer's threat libraries to tell you what it is. This wealth of knowledge must be protected. Sirius Compact therefore does not store any sensitive data from the threat library on board the sensor itself. Rather, the processed emitter tracks are routed to where the user has opted to locate the threat library, so either locally or at a rear echelon. As a lateral example, Sirius Compact mounted on a drone, which may have a requirement for zero communication emissions during the flight, perhaps to be used for intelligence gathering purposes, can be dispatched and follow a pre-programmed route and return. As such, processed emitter tracks can be processed and temporarily stored on board the Sirius Compact for subsequent downloading and analysis.
What about it? What about reporting?
So this comes back a little to the tasking and reporting system, or TRS Lite, that I mentioned in the previous statement. Sirius Compact is controlled by Saab's proprietary TRS Lite software. With this software, a simple tablet or PC can control a number of Sirius Compact sensors and support tactical operability.
Why do it this way?
Well, let's say that up to 5 sensors can be easily managed per operator using our TRS Lite software. These 5 sensors can be grouped and controlled as bundles across the deployed tactical force. In our case, our multifaceted high-level tasking and reporting software called TRS-9EW can receive the data from these groups and bundles and process them to better visualize an entire battle space at a strategic or perhaps even a national level. This in turn enables the command chain to make better and informed decisions.
So the TRS software enables automatically generated reports, but can it assign tasks to other sensors or record new signals to expand a threat library?
Yes, that's a very good question. So the clue is in the name of the software, Tasking and Reporting System Lite. So absolutely, a sensor can automatically assign tasks to adjacent sensors. So perhaps to be looking for signals of a particular frequency of interest. And in doing so, new signals can be recorded locally or remotely and then further distributed.
Since the Sirius Compact sensor is mountable almost anywhere, and as you pointed out earlier, even on civilian infrastructure like wind farms, can these sensors also bring big advantages for alliance partners such as in NATO or Frontex?
Absolutely. Sensor-based information is central to frameworks such as the Cooperative Electronic Support Measure Operations, or CESMO, which clearly benefits all coalition partners. The uniform DNA of all members of Saab's Sirius family ensures higher precision and expertise from decades of R&D captured into this new compact model. The entire Sirius product family is constantly being further developed, and we see this as a definite benefit to NATO and Frontex.
So now we know 5 things, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'd like to kind of summarize this so far. 1, we have the ability to detect, analyze, and classify threats while remaining undetected, and can overcome increasingly complex threats facing armed forces, and added to that, become an efficient and precise early warning system. Correct?
That's a very good summary. In short, I would say that passive sensors can provide a detailed understanding of enemies' activities without being noticed themselves.
Good. Okay, I'm glad you said that because that was actually my second point. Then the third point is the mobility of these systems is more than just fitting a system into a smaller box. It's a tactical necessity. 4, tasking and reporting software, as you discussed earlier, supports the classification of detected signals, so commanders at any level really can best comprehend what these signals mean and make the best decisions. And then the 5th and final point, and again if I have all this correct, is that a passive mobile sensor can very much be the silent guardian of NATO and Frontex alliance partners.
So those are some great points, and I do agree completely. What I do believe we'll be seeing is that sensors like Sirius Compact will increasingly play a key role in this electronic warfare cat-and-mouse game with an enemy or perhaps even menacing forces beyond all of our borders.
Astounding. I feel like I've actually learned something today.
Well, now more than ever, critical information needs to be gathered and disseminated without compromising one's own position. In a world where electronic warfare and information dominance increasingly determines the outcome of conflicts, these silent systems like Sirius Compact will become indispensable and enable a new dimension of tactical planning and decision-making.
You know, now that you say that, I read that during Napoleonic Wars, experienced soldiers would say that after the first volley of weapons fire, you no longer saw the battlefield. You only heard it.
I guess a little has changed since then, but for different reasons. If we come back to that analogy at the start of this podcast, whereas radars shout and then listen, and by doing so reveal where they are, and that they are actively searching for an enemy, passive sensors such as Sirius Compact only listen undetected as the ears of the modern battlefield.
Wow. Well, thanks, Matt, for these insights. I really appreciate it. And seriously, I know our subscribers do too.
That's great. Thank you very much for hosting me.